how many people will cross the border illegally from safe spaces like upstate New York into Canada and then subsequently claim asylum at crossings like Roxham Road over the next several years? This is a question that I've been asking the government for a very long period of time because I'm trying to understand how much it's going to cost to process the claims of people who are coming into the country this way, to house them. We know that August the 9th, there are several hundred people in Toronto that are going to be shipped out of college dormitories and into hotels. I've been trying to figure out how many people Justin Trudeau is planning on coming into Canada through this way so that I can understand how much it's going to cost Canadians. So I'm sitting here tonight and I'm coming to you because I just got a huge piece of data. You'll remember that I sat in committee meetings with a bunch of Trudeau's ministers last week because I forced parliamentary meetings to try and get some of this data. You've seen the videos, we didn't get a lot of data, but I asked them to table a response to a request that my colleague Larry Maguire had made to the Parliamentary Budget Officer several weeks ago. So the Parliamentary Budget Officer is an independent officer of Parliament, and his responsibility is to review public expenditures, and I'm simplifying, and assist parliamentarians with the same. So Larry made this request. I just got a bunch of data from this tonight, like a whole stack of it. And I'm reading through it. I'm going to be coming to you in the coming days with all of the costs. Spoiler alert, it's in the hundreds of millions of dollars territory just for this year alone, but there's something that just caught my eye, and it's from a response from the CBSA, and I'm going to read this directly. This is not my words. This is directly from the Canadian Border Services Agency's response to the Parliamentary Budget Officer. Here we go. Recently, CBSA officers are noticing another phenomenon. Claimants who have recently arrived in Canada as irregular migrants, so those are people who have illegally crossed the border and then from the US and then claimed asylum, and have refugee claims in process, are acting as an anchor relative for other qualifying family members, spouses, sons, daughters, parents, legal guardians, siblings, grandparents, grandchildren, aunts, uncles, nieces, and nephews. This means that these family members can present themselves at a port of entry and not be considered as irregular migrants. They also can't be refused entry under the Safe Third Country Agreement. So what does that mean? So that means that anybody who has illegally crossed the border from safe spaces like upstate New York into Canada and then claimed asylum, anybody who falls under that category of family members can now make a claim even without the Safe Third Country Agreement in Canada. And why is this important? Because this is a part of the CBSA trying to explain that they can't give us numbers on how many people they're projecting, because they're seeing that people's families, so people that have illegally crossed the border, now their family members can legally cross the border and make an asylum claim because the Safe Third Country Agreement doesn't apply to them. And so they can't, what they're saying is we have no idea how many people are going to come into the country. So how are we supposed to budget for anything if we have no control over this situation? And that's something that's really shocking to me. Today I read a news story that people are starting to be, the people who are in these college dormitories in Toronto are starting to be moved out and placed in hotels. I mean, first of all, that can't be a positive experience for those people. And second of all, we have no idea how long they're going to be in these hotels for, because we don't know how long it's going to take to process their claims. And at the same time, this is not me. This is not me being alarmist. This is me reading the CBSA's own words. The CBSA are noticing another phenomenon. Claimants who have recently arrived in Canada and have refugee claims in process are acting as an anchor relative for qualifying family members. So now we have to calculate a whole other class of people. This is beyond the pale. The government Trudeau has had 18 months to even go to the Americans to talk about closing the loophole in the Safe Third Country Agreement, and he's refused to do that. And now we've got the Canadian Border Services Agency saying, we are noticing another phenomenon. Claimants who have recently arrived in Canada as irregular migrants and have refugee claims in process are acting as an anchor relative for qualifying family members. And let me read it again. Spouse, sons, daughters, parents, legal guardians, siblings, grandparents, grandchildren, aunts, uncles, nieces, and nephews. I'm going to spend the rest of my night looking through this data. You can expect more videos from me tomorrow on the entire cost. I've posted just a few highlights of the cost on my Twitter feed tonight. Actually, when I saw the numbers, they were quite shocking. And they can't even project how many more people are going to be coming in through this. It's very disappointing, and it just shows a complete lack of plan and a complete lack of compassion. But Canada's Conservatives are going to continue to push back and push for a plan, because this is not compassionate and this is not fair. Working hard for you in Calgary. Have a great evening.